Visiting a BR0THEL in Pompeii, the shocking truth no one talks about. 3 a.m. discoveries. The moon hung low over the ruins of Pompeii, casting eerie shadows that danced like ghosts on the ancient stone. It was past midnight, and the streets were swallowed by silence, broken only by the hushed whispers of a few brave souls venturing into the mystery of the night. Rumors buzzed like bees, stories of a hidden brothel where pleasure mingled with the echoes of the past, where dark secrets lay waiting to be uncovered. Yet, nobody spoke too loud. The truth was too shocking, too scandalous to face head-on. One flickering street lamp illuminated the telltale sign, a faded mural, once vibrant, now a ghost of its former self. It depicted figures intertwined in ecstasy, as if promising a forbidden adventure that nobody could resist. The air was thick with tension, charged by a blend of curiosity and fear, like electricity just before a storm. Where there were once bustling crowds, a heavy stillness now lingered, wrapping around the heart like a vice, making it hard to breathe. It wasn't long before footsteps echoed around a corner, the sound startling enough to send chills down the spine. A group of tourists, drawn by whispers and a touch of danger, gathered in front of what looked like an innocuous doorway. They exchanged nervous glances, but their excitement was contagious, the thrill of venturing where few dared to tread. What lay behind that door? Who had crossed that threshold before, and what had they experienced? The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior, a world colliding with the past and present. The air hummed with the scent of incense and the distant laughter of centuries past, making the visitors feel both alive and trapped in a dream. A flicker of movement caught the eye. A woman, draped in flowing robes, appeared from the shadows, her smile both inviting and unsettling. She leaned close, her voice a soft whisper, "You seek the truth, don't you?" Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Questions raced through minds like wildfire. What did she mean by the truth? A wave of apprehension washed over them. Was this just another illusion wrapped in the allure of a haunted city, or was there something far more sinister lurking beneath the surface? What secrets had those walls witnessed? The air crackled with anticipation, a palpable energy tightening around them. Would they leave with answers, or would the mysteries of Pompeii claim them, too? As they stepped deeper into the unknown, the doorway behind them faded, locking them into a realm where history and desire intertwined. What horror awaited them beyond the veil of the night? The woman's gaze was piercing, almost hypnotic. Her delicate fingers traced the air as she gestured for them to follow. "Come," she invited, a hint of mischief lacing her tone. The shadows seemed to welcome them into the space, pulsating with an energy only they could feel. As they stepped inside, an intoxicating mixture of sweet incense and a musty, age-old scent enveloped them, pulling them further in. Their hearts pounded in sync with the low music that resonated from deep within the establishment. It felt like an invitation to lose themselves, trade their fears for fleeting moments of ecstasy. But beneath that allure, anxiety still gnawed at their minds. One member of the group, a brash young man named Jake, scoffed, attempting to channel his nerves into bravado. "This is just a hoax, right? A tourist trap." He chuckled nervously, but his eyes darted around, searching for confirmation of danger. "Or maybe the beginning of a revelation," whispered Laura, one of the women in the group. Her voice wavered, her excitement battling with the tremor of fear. She was fascinated, entranced by the idea that they might learn something forbidden. "Truth or not, we can't turn back now," said Sarah, a quiet soul who had remained on the fringes of the group's energy. The words hung in the air like smoke. The woman in robes moved fluidly, guiding them deeper into the heart of the brothel. Room after room revealed scenes of luxury intertwined with decay, faded murals depicting passion, dilapidated furniture, and rich textures that hinted at lavish indulgences of a past era. Each corner holds a story, she explained, gesturing vaguely at the surroundings. Whispers of those who sought the pleasures of flesh and fantasy and their consequences. A prickling sensation crawled up Jake's spine. What happened to them? Are they still here? Ah, the living do not comprehend, she trailed off, a smirk ghosting her lips. But the spirits here know. They carry their sins, their secrets, and they are hungry. Suddenly, the lights flickered, plunging the room into darkness for just a brief moment. A cold rush of air swept through, sending shivers through their bodies. Gasps echoed around them, their naive adventure veering toward something darker. Maybe we should go, Jake said, his bravado vanishing as fear took the reins. No. We're too far in now, Laura argued, her eyes wild with adrenaline. She reached for the woman's arm. Tell us, how does it end? The woman turned, her expression now reminiscent of a skeletal grin. Oh, sweet souls. It never really ends, it only transforms. As the lights brightened again, the atmosphere shifted. The once inviting space now felt oppressive, the laughter transformed into frantic whispers, as if they were eavesdropping on hidden conversations. Shadows flickered and shapes began to move just beyond their line of vision, hinting at a history they weren't prepared to confront. Who are you? Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper, trembling with curiosity and fear. Just a keeper of secrets, the woman replied, stepping back into the shadow, her form melting into the darkness. And the truth you seek, it will cost you dearly. A palpable fear gripped their hearts. They had entered seeking revelation but now felt like unwitting participants in a sinister drama, the lines between reality and the past blurring before their very eyes. Jake glanced back, the door behind them a distant memory now. What have we done? The shadows swirled, whispers rising to a fever pitch as questions hung in the air. But the most critical question loomed larger: what sacrifices would they have to make to uncover the hidden truths of Pompeii? As tension crackled, reality twisted around them, the stakes rising. There would be no turning back now. Would they survive the night, or would the spirits of Pompeii claim yet another set of souls? The air grew heavy, thick with an anticipation that wrapped around them like an unseen shroud. They stood there, hearts racing, overwhelmed by an unsettling energy that vibrated from the walls and floors, almost pleading for action. Shadows danced in the corners of their eyes, a deceptive blend of what was real and what might have been conjured from their fears. Maybe we should, Jake stammered, looking toward the entrance as if it still held the promise of safety. But the doorway appeared like an illusion, a mirage of security slipping further away. No. Laura's voice was firm, shaking the uncertainty. We have to know. She stepped forward, propelled by a mix of bravado and reckless curiosity, dragging Sarah and Jake along with her. As they moved deeper into the brothel, an ancient, cracked mirror caught Laura's eye. The reflection was distorted, echoing a different time. Ghostly figures flitted past, their expressions twisted in celebration or despair, mouths moving as if trying to scream, yet no sound reached them. Laura's throat tightened, an icy grip snaking around her heart. What secrets were they meant to uncover? Look at the mirror, she breathed, gesturing nervously. Her mind raced, she felt like an intruder, peeking behind the veil of time. What would she find if she reached out and touched it? The question tugged at her soul. Are we seeing things? Jake rubbed his eyes. I can't take this, not yet. We can't leave yet, Laura insisted, eyes gleaming with both terror and excitement. What if it shows us the truth? But Sarah spoke from a place of fear. What if the truth is too much? This place feels wrong. Who are you, really? Jake shouted into the silent space. It felt like an echo, a bravado attempt to utilize the last vestiges of his confidence. As if in response, a chilling whisper brushed against their ears, truth is the currency here and it is steep. The voice seemed to swirl around them, caressing and taunting. The woman reappeared, her lithe figure slipping from the shadows like a dark flame. The skeletal grin she wore didn't falter as she leaned closer. To see what the spirits have to reveal, you must offer something of equal value. A story, a sin, or perhaps, a memory. Laura's heart raced as her mind reeled. Memory's personal demons surfaced, whispering doubts. Could she bear to exchange something so intimate? The thrill of revelation twisted dangerously with the fear of exposure. Don't even think about it. Jake exclaimed, stepping protectively in front of Laura. This is insane. But the keeper of secrets only laughed softly, the sound echoing with haunting familiarity. Insanity is often the doorway to truth, dear boy. Just then, the room darkened once more, and an overwhelming silence enveloped them. The air thickened, charged with a sinister energy that felt almost alive. Then, the whispers grew again, spiraling into an urgent cacophony that seemed to swirl around them, building into a tempest of shadows. What do they want from us? Sarah cried, clutching her arms as if cold fingers were gripping her. Something you desire. The woman hissed, her voice rising above the fray. What will you sacrifice to learn what has been buried? In that moment, the weight of the decision pressed onto them like a brick. They were no longer spectators, they were players in a dark, dangerous game, their pasts beckoning them forward. They stood on the precipice of revelation, but the righteous path seemed obscured by shadows. With the darkness vibrating with urgency, Laura felt the pull toward the mirror grow stronger. She glanced at Jake and Sarah, fear and resolve flickering. Would they stand together and take this leap into the abyss, or would they pull away from the unknown ahead? The temptation hung in the air, tangible and electric. The question remained, what would each of them be willing to surrender for the truth? And as they stared into the mirror, their fates twisted together in a web of darkness. A single chilling question hung in the shadows: did they even know what truths were waiting for them on the other side? The tension wrapped around them, electric and suffocating. Laura's pulse raced, drawing her to the mirror like a moth to a flame. A mix of dread and longing swirled in her stomach. She could almost feel the spirits behind that glass, their fingers trying to reach out, pulling her closer to a truth she wasn't sure she wanted. Do it, the woman urged, her voice laced with insidious sweetness. What's a memory worth when hidden in shadows? Set it free. Laura, don't. Jake's voice broke the spell, panic lacing his words. He stepped toward her, eyes wide with desperation. We can just leave. This is a mistake. No, Sarah whispered, pulling Jake back. We need to know. We can't live the rest of our lives wondering what this place holds. Laura hesitated. Images of her childhood, long-buried pain, and regret stirred within her. The laughter of friends now ghosts, the shadows of her deepest fears threatening to emerge. What if this price was too steep? Suddenly, the mirror rippled, and an image manifested. A scene from the past, a raucous party, laughter overlapping the music, the bubbling vitality tinted with hints of something darker. A younger version of Laura danced joyfully, oblivious to everything that would come next. Look! The woman beckoned, her eyes glinting. A memory worth its weight. But at what cost? The room spun, and Laura felt dizzy. The pulsating shadows around them twisted, forming a portal of her own past, a portal she had fought desperately to escape. Memories hovered like fireflies, flickering just out of reach. Remember, Laura, the woman whispered. You can lose what you love the most if you dare. But what if it brings back that which you've lost? Sweat beaded on Laura's forehead as uncertainty gnawed at her. Would facing this truth tear them apart? Did she want to know? Each second stretched, thick with dread. Suddenly, Sarah gasped. I see it. She pointed, her own eyes locked on the glass. I see my father. The realization crashed over Laura. Wait. No. If you look, you'll. But Sarah was already lost in the moment, her breath shallow. Memories spun around her in vibrant colors, overlapping in a parade of joy and agony. Sarah! You have to stop! Jake shouted, panic rising. He reached out, but the shadows swallowed his voice and urgency, growing thicker. I need to know. Sarah replied, her face alight with something like hope. The allure of knowledge suffocated her fear. With a reckless desperation, Laura stepped forward. I'll go first, she resolved, staring into the mirror with a fierce determination. She would not let her friends drown in this darkness alone. Holding her breath, she showed the shadows her own most sacred memory, the day she lost her mother. The glass clouded and then cleared into a vibrant scene, swirling in bittersweet emotion. Her young mother smiled brightly, the scent of freshly baked cookies around them, laughter still echoing, but just as quick, the joy shattered into chaos. Screams erupted, pulling Laura from her bliss. Her mother's shadow twisted, lost in the storm, impossibly fading. Desperation clawed at Laura's heart, her fear transforming into raw anguish. No, please. No. She cried, hands clawing at the glass, her spirit wrenching free from the memories. Everything has a price, the woman crooned, her smile wide and sinister, eyes reflecting the darkness swirling around them. Jake stepped back, horrified, and Sarah shouted in sorrow, trying to stave off the darkness with futile hands. In the chaos, the mirror rippled again, revealing new images with thunderous urgency. Secrets long hidden began to unveil. But Laura was losing grasp of herself. Don't look away. She roared, voice cracking. Whatever we do, we have to do it together. No one is getting left behind. And just as their voices reached a fever pitch, the swirling shadows howled back with ferocity, drowning out their reckoning. Would they lose everything they held dear to discover the truth? In that critical moment, the walls vibrated, shaking with every unvoiced fear they carried, and the question screamed in their hearts, what would they find on the other side of their memories, and would they all survive it? The shrieking shadows buzzed like a live wire, crackling and snapping around them, shoving memories and fears to the forefront of Laura's mind. She felt the room pulse with a rhythm of dread, a sickening beat almost tuning into her heartbeat, like a morbid serenade. Sarah was still entranced, her eyes fixated on the mirror, her body trembling as the memories of her father played out like an endless film reel of nostalgia and grief. Sarah! Please! Jake shouted again, desperation ripping through him. He lunged forward, reaching for his friend. But the moment he got close, the shadows lashed out, wrapping around him like a cold hand tightening around his throat. Jake! Laura's voice soared above the chaos, panic exploding in her chest. She fought against the shadows pulling at her limbs, desperate to break free and save them both. If only she could pull Jake back from the abyss, back from whatever dark history awaited him in the mirror's depths. Laura! Sarah's voice cut through the murky haze for just a moment, filled with undeniable warmth. But the magnetic pull of the mirror was too strong. It wasn't just her past calling out to her now, it was Jake's and Sarah's too, intertwining with her own, pulling them into a tangled web of shared histories and heartaches that in a heart-stopping moment, the mirror shifted, a torrent of swirling images overwhelming them. She caught glimpses the elation of her childhood alongside laughter and love, but also shadows creeping in like smoke, infesting happy moments with a sense of foreboding. She felt the weight of past decisions pressing on her chest, regurgitating every choice she had ever made. Get out! You don't have to go in there. She screamed, the words almost lost in the hurricane of emotion surrounding them, but it seemed too late. Each character in the memories twisted in agony, mouths opening wide in gasps that echoed through Laura's mind as she saw flashes of her friendships unfold, a group of carefree teens drinking, dancing under the stars, but soon morphing into screams of betrayal and loss. It was all too real, too vivid, she felt their pain seeping into her bones. The woman in the mirror chuckled darkly, and Laura's blood ran cold. They long for the truth, but truth does not come without sacrifice. Your precious memories can bring them back, but at what cost? No, she breathed, shock rippling through her. Sarah's face twisted as the memories wove tighter around them, the joy mingling with dark realizations. Don't! Laura cried out, feeling that dread coil tighter within her. Suddenly, the mirror spat another vision, and their surroundings warped. An image of a child, a little girl laughing beside a woman. Laura felt her heart twist painfully. It was her young Laura with her mother, captured in a moment of bliss, free from the future that awaited them, but that happiness wove into another reality. Hospital beds, whispered goodbyes, tears pouring down youthful cheeks. Her mother's shadow faded, and the laughter morphed into silence. "Stop it!" she roared, hands pressed against the now swirling surface. "You have to stop." The room around them erupted into chaos, the intensity coiling around them like a viper preparing to strike. Their very essence felt at stake, every heartbeat echoing the fear that encased their hearts. With every scream, every tear, the darkness threatened to consume them, but Laura grappled with a flicker of determination. There had to be a way to break this cycle. They had to face it together. Together. She bellowed, trying to pierce through Sarah's haze, trying to pull Jake back from the brink. "We can't let it tear us apart. We're stronger than this." At that moment, the shadows recoiled, the mirror shimmering with uncertainty. But in the swirl of chaos, a small ray shone through, a fleeting glimpse of light breaking into their plight. Could they take it? Could they snatch that glimmer from the dark? The shadows hissed, closing in. Beneath the torrent of memories, a question loomed: was it too late to escape, or could they wrestle back the truth they sought? And in that gripping moment, as the voices swelled to a crescendo, Laura understood whatever lay ahead was nothing she could ever prepare for. The next move determined by the shadows demanded their trust, the kind of trust they may not possess. What awaited them beyond the mirror's bloody depths, and would they emerge whole, or merely as whispers of who they once were? With a sudden jolt, reality slashed through the frenzy. The shadows recoiled for a split second, as if taken aback by the resolve in Laura's voice. That flicker of light grew, illuminating the murkiness around them. Yet it wasn't enough. The darkness roared back, hungry and furious, tightening its grip on Jake and Sarah. "Laura, I can see it." Sarah gasped, her voice trembling, but that flicker couldn't break the chains of memory. It felt like having one foot in a dream and the other in a nightmare. I can't let go, Sarah." Laura's scream reverberated like a bell, infused with sheer desperation. She could barely breathe as the pull of the memories threatened to drown them in sorrow. "Fight it. Remember us. Remember why we came here." Jake's face twisted in agony, a mixture of terror and heartbreak. The shadows gnawed at him, whispering venomous truths, stripping him of purpose. "Laura. I don't know if I can." His voice cracked, fear coursing through him like ice. But Laura could see the potential for hope in the depths of despair. She concentrated, sucking in her breath, forcing every memory of laughter, friendship, and the beautiful moments they'd shared to the fore. Would it be enough to penetrate the veils of darkness encroaching on them? Would love and light triumph over the weight of memory? The mirror shimmered like water, reflecting their united determination, and for a moment, just a moment, the oppressive weight lifted. "Look!" Laura shouted, pointing into the shifting abyss. "There. That's our light. We can find our way back." Just then, the voice from the mirror twisted grotesquely into laughter, echoing a chorus of disjointed memories. "You think you can escape?" It sneered, rising above the cacophony of their fears. "You're bound to this pain. You brought it with you." "No. We're not defined by this." Laura shouted again, adrenaline thrumming through her veins. With each word, she pried open the bond of shadows, forcing her to the forefront, to confront the memories holding them captive. "Together, remember?" Sarah cried, just above a whisper, tears spilling down her cheeks. It was the thin ray they needed. With a shuddering inhale, she broke free from the haze. "Laura. Do it for us. Do it for the moments that matter." Heart pounding, Laura surged forward, reaching for Sarah's hand. "We're stronger than this darkness. We can take back control." As their hands clasped, a surge of energy flowed between them, weaving around the mounting dread. The mirror flickered violently, caught in the storm of their revived hope, but the shadows screamed, shrieked an anguished chorus of everything and nothing. Suddenly, Jake found his voice again, wrestling through the suffocating mist. Together. His hands gripped firmly around the pair. Together, we break free. As they stood united, arms linked, the brightness surged like a tidal wave against the murk. But just when it seemed victory was at hand, the mirror shivered violently, and the woman's eyes glowed hot, fiercely challenging, relentless. You think you can rewrite your fate? She spat. The truth is uglier than you can imagine. And it's coming for you. With a deafening crack, the mirror split open, a singularity of light and darkness, drawing them in with a magnetic pull. Terrifying visions spun around them, taunting fragments of forgotten choices and bitter betrayals. Hold on. Laura bellowed above the chaos, but the fears clawed back, whispering doubts that felt as real as their memories. There was no retreat, only this precipice of uncertainty hanging before them. And as the abyss of the mirror swallowed them, Laura's heart raced what awaited them on the other side. Would they face the harsh truths together, or would the past tear their fragile bond apart forever? The darkness loomed, ominous and alive, waiting to expose every secret since locked away. Would they find redemption, or would it consume them whole? The world lurched like a ship caught in a storm. They fell, plunging into the churning depths of the mirror. Every instinct screamed to brace for impact, but they didn't know where they were landing. The darkness was too thick to see. Then, a searing flash exploded around them. Air burst into their lungs, they gasped. The chaos of the void dropped away, replaced by a chilling silence. They stood on a cracked cobblestone street bathed in an eerie, flickering light. Where are we? Jake's voice was barely a whisper. His eyes widened as recognition struck him. Is this Pompeii? Look. Laura pointed. A distant, fiery glow illuminated the outline of structures drowning in ash and shadows. In the heart of the night, the memory of a catastrophic eruption clung to them. Each building, a tomb for those lost in time, the gravity of their surroundings hit them hard. This wasn't just a memory, it was a prison woven into the fabric of their past. Sarah shuddered, her fingers brushing the dusty walls. It feels real. Too real, Jake added, glancing around nervously. What if we're stuck here? But Laura was determined to break the cycle. They fought their way through darkness once, they could do it again. We need to find the source. There has to be a way out, a way to confront whatever it was that drew us here. As they moved cautiously down the street, crumbling walls whispered secrets of heartache and despair. The air was thick, like a lingering plague of regret. Shadows danced just beyond their reach, eyes peering at them from every corner. Laura, wait. Jake suddenly stopped, his breath shallow. Did you hear that? A low murmur wrapped around them, a haunting melody of voices whispering their names and secrets. It seemed to rise from the ground, a chilling echo that fell over them like a shroud. They're here, they're lost, they'll never escape, the whispers promised, enunciating words that clawed at their sanity. Ignore it. Laura shouted, forcing herself to stay focused. We have to keep going. But Sarah hesitated. What if this place is trying to show us something? What if it's not just a memory? Her voice trembled, the allure of truth mingling with the clutches of fear. No. We can't get distracted by that. Jake insisted. This is all just smoke and mirrors. Yet, doubt crept into his mind, spreading like a vine. They pressed on, the whispers mounting in intensity, forming a grotesque symphony of despair. Suddenly, the silence shattered, and from an alley ahead, an unnatural figure emerged. The outline was hazy, shifting as if it couldn't decide whether it belonged to this world or the other. Help me, the voice was faint but unmistakably familiar. It echoed with a shivering urgency that struck at the raw nerves of their past. Is it? Laura started, hope rising in her throat, but faltered at the sight of the figure etching closer. Don't look. Jake shouted suddenly, gripping Sarah's arm tightly. But it was already too late. Laura stepped forward, drawn by the voice that had haunted her dreams. As she approached, the figure took shape. Tattered clothes, hollow eyes, a face twisted in pain and longing. "You left us," it moaned, the words slicing through the air with venomous bite. "You chose to forget us." The gut-wrenching truth struck Laura hard, guilt tightening its grip around her heart. She had buried the past, hoping to escape its claws, but now, it stood before her, a brutal reminder of every choice made. Sarah's voice cracked, fear morphing into sympathetic terror. "Don't let it in," but it was already too late. The figure's outstretched hand beckoned her forward, and Laura found herself caught in a storm of emotions, regret, sorrow, and a suffocating sense of loss. "Laura!" Jake screamed again, but the echo of her name faded into the cacophony of haunted whispers that engulfed the alley. Just as she was about to reach out, her hand tingled, an electric reminder of the bond they forged, a lifeline amidst the chaos. The flickering shadows around them rolled violently, wrapping around their feet like thick fog. "Hold on!" Jake shouted, gripping Sarah's hand. "Together. We can face it." What lay at the end of this encounter, Laura wondered. Answers? Or was it merely another trap, a deeper descent into despair? As they stared into the piercing eyes of the figure, one question haunted Laura: could they confront the darkness of their collective past before it swallowed them whole? The figure loomed closer, its form distorting with every heartbeat, and Laura felt her skin prickle. "You think you can escape your past?" It rasped, its voice like gravel scraping against raw wounds. The air crackled with tension, thickening around them as if the very atmosphere bore witness to their sins. Jake tugged at Sarah, panic etched in his features. "Laura, don't. It's playing with you," he urged, but the whispers surged like a tide, pulling at Laura, enveloping her in an unsettling warmth. "Why did you leave? Why did you forget?" The figure's eyes glistened with unshed tears, a mirror reflecting Laura's guilt back at her. Each word resonated deep in her chest, drawing forth memories she had struggled to bury. I didn't mean to," she stammered, but as she spoke, a flood of memories surged forward: laughter, joy, and then heartbreak. Faces emerged from the hazy depths of her mind, those she had pushed aside in a desperate bid for normalcy. "Laura!" Jake's voice sliced through the fog, bringing her back. "Don't listen. It's feeding on your pain." He stepped forward, but shadows writhed around him, preventing his advance. Suddenly, the figure's piercing gaze shifted from Laura's eyes to Jake's. "You think you control this? You think she chose to forget? You pushed her away." The words hung in the air, heavy with accusation, and Jake stumbled back slightly at the truth buried within the figure's claim. "I wanted to save her," he shouted, desperation flooding his tone. But the truth was undeniable. Everyone they had lost was stitched into the very fabric of this nightmarish version of Pompeii. The world felt like it was coming undone, each brick and shadow a reminder of failure. "Shut it!" Sarah yelled, her voice trembling with fury. "We've all made choices. We can't be haunted by the past forever." But as she finished, a tremor coursed through her, a crack in the armor of her own denial. The figure shuddered, almost as if it was laughing. "You think strength is enough? This place drinks despair. You can battle the shadows that cling to you, but they will never let go. Not until you confront the truth." "Stop!" Laura screamed, holding her hands against her ears. She could feel the ground shifting beneath her. The cobblestones seemed alive, pulsing with the whirlwind of memories erupting around her. "Face it, Laura." The figure's voice distorted, blending with the cacophony of whispers. "You can't run. You need to make a choice to forget this all again or to embrace what you've done." Laura felt time stretch as if she were staring into an infinite abyss. The flow of decay around her began to pulsate rhythmically, magnifying her fears. Her heart thundered, and with it came clarity. "I won't run anymore." And just like that, the shadows surged, twisting violently in response to her newfound conviction. The body of the figure flickered, merging back into the swirling darkness. Then why are you afraid? It taunted, its voice echoing as it danced away. Laura! Jake yelled, trying to pull her back as the ground trembled beneath their feet, threatening to swallow them whole. We have to hold on. Gripping Sarah's hand, Laura masked her uncertainty with determination. Let us confront it together. This isn't just my struggle, it's ours. But the shadows were relentless, screeching in protest, as if caught off guard by their defiance. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted, illuminating everything like a flash of lightning through the darkest of nights. For a moment, silence reigned, then, a powerful voice rose, cutting through the chaos, a voice that resonated with an authority that left them breathless. You must choose now, or lose everything. Choose what? Jake shouted over the rumble of their surroundings, confusion spiraling in his eyes. Choose whether to confront the haunting truth or be consumed by it forever, the voice replied, an echo that pulsed in their bones. As the light dimmed to reveal a fork in the path ahead, one leading deeper into the shadows, the other toward the faint flicker of hope. Laura's decision loomed large. Were they ready to step into the visceral truth of their past, or would they be swallowed by the suffocating darkness? With their hearts racing, they stood at the crossroads. And as the whispers swirled around them in a frenzy, one undeniable question carved itself into the freezing air: could they truly face what lay ahead, knowing it could shatter everything they thought they understood? The ground shook beneath their feet, a warning shot across the bow of their resolve. Laura's heart raced, echoing the tremors of the earth, a mad drumbeat of fear and adrenaline. She glanced between Jake and Sarah, their faces pale, painted with uncertainty. This was a pivotal moment, and the weight of it pressed against her chest. Laura, Jake shouted again, his voice strained. Pick a path. We can't stand here. The shadows behind them swirled like angry fog, their breathy whispers clawing at her mind. They spoke of regrets and fears, each word laced with venom. What's it going to be? They hissed, tantalizing her with the allure of escape. Taking a deep breath, Laura locked her eyes on the flickering light, a symbol of hope almost obscured by the darkness. We'll face it, she declared, her voice firm despite the trembling in her hands. Together. Suddenly, the shadows shrieked like banshees, their fury palpable. They recoiled, pulsating back as if warding off the brightness of Laura's conviction. Shadows flickered like dying embers, but an unseen force drew them back. The malevolence swirling around them heightened as if a storm was brewing. Are you sure? Sarah asked, her tone wavering. The light ahead dimmed slightly, a warning flicker, and Laura could feel her own resolve teetering. The figure had toyed with them before, planting seeds of doubt and causing rifts just beneath the surface of their bond. We can't let it win, Jake replied, stepping closer to Laura. We owe it to the people we lost. We can't keep running from this. With that, Laura felt a jolt of energy surge through her. Renewed courage propelled her forward. Let us go. They took the first step into the light together, hand in hand. The moment they crossed the boundary separating light from dark, they felt it, the surge of 1,000 memories crashing over them, vivid and vibrant, like waves battering against the shore. The images rushed forth, laughter, joy, pain, a tapestry woven with the lives they had tried to forget. Suddenly, the scene dissolved around them. They were no longer on the cobblestones of this haunted Pompeii but standing in a vast, swirling void, a realm that felt all at once suffocating and liberating. Welcome, the powerful voice resonated again, this time clearer, almost familiar. To the reality you fear to acknowledge. The darkness receded to reveal moments that had shaped them, Laura's childhood home, overflowing with laughter, now shrouded in an eerie silence, Jake's desperate attempts to pull Laura back from shadows that beckoned her, and Sarah's guilt deep and heavy as she sought to protect her friends yet feeling utterly powerless. This is what you've done, the voice continued, echoing around them, layering memories upon memories. These are not just ghosts, they are pieces of you. Stop! Laura cried out, clutching her head. The cacophony of memories began to spiral into chaos, blurring into a nightmarish landscape. We can't, it's too much. Laura, focus. Jake shouted, wrenching her attention. We have to own our past. It's the only way to break free. The words hit her like a lifeline amidst the storm. Could they really look their traumas in the eye? Could they face everything they had lost and muster the strength to carve a new path? Together, Sarah whispered, squeezing their hands tighter, grounding them. The darkness around them began to falter, unsure of their newfound unity, but just as a sense of hope ignited, the figure from before materialized again, furious and relentless. Its form flickered with a rage fueled by their defiance. You think you can possess the truth? You're still prisoners to the shadows. Laura felt a tremor of dread cascade through her. The battle was far from over. As the figure lunged forward, darkness clawing at their legs like icy fingers, a primal fear surged within Laura. What if they couldn't face it? What if everything they believed was shattered in this moment of reckoning, and at that last heartbeat, the question lingered in the air, could they emerge unscathed, or would their past consume them whole? The shadows writhed with an insatiable hunger, threatening to engulf them once again. The malevolent figure towered, its twisted form flickering as it surged towards them, intent on pulling them back into the depths of despair. But as fear clawed at Laura's chest, something sparked within her, a sense of fierce determination. Together! She shouted, her voice slicing through the clamor of echoes and despair. Jake and Sarah stood resolute beside her, hands locked together, each heartbeat synchronized with a rush of unyielding strength that rose from their shared history. With a defiant roar, they stepped towards the figure, drawing upon the catharsis of every moment they had fought to bury. We won't let you control us. Laura cried, grounding her resolve in the love and bond they had forged, stronger than any shadow. The light glimmered around them, illuminating their path forward. The figure shrieked, recoiling from the radiance that surged from their unity. You think friendship is enough to wear away the scars? It howled, the fury in its voice echoing through the void. But with each passing moment, the shadows shrank back, frightened by the power of their collective resolve. It has to be enough. Sarah shouted, her heart pounding wildly. We've already faced so much loss. We refuse to let it take any more. We will not let you win. As their voices harmonized, a dazzling light erupted, blanketing the shadows, illuminating scenes from their past moments of joy, connection, and resilience that stitched them together like a tapestry unmarred by the fabric of pain. They could see it now. It wasn't the struggles or the losses that defined them, but the friendships forged in fire, the love that had persisted against the odds. The figure shifted, its voice faltering. You cannot escape your pain. It lives in you. Maybe, Laura shot back, her spirit unwavering. But it doesn't get to dictate who we become. We're more than our scars. We choose to carry our memories with us, not as ghosts, but as guiding lights. The intensity of her words resonated throughout the void, the glow bursting forth anew. The walls began to dissolve, peeling away to unveil an open landscape, a serene horizon, a beautiful sky painted in hues of soft lavender and gold, unmarred by the chaos they had just faced. See? Jake breathed, awestruck. We can change our narrative. One last defiant step, and they surged forward into the radiance, hands clasped tightly past the serpents of shadows and the echoes of doubt. The figure howled in fury, but it was a distant sound now, powerless against the light. As they broke through to the other side, they were met with an overwhelming sense of relief. Shivers of warmth enveloped their hearts, each pulse bringing them back to a world united by love and friendship. The shadows were behind them, mere remnants of the fears they had battled. Did we do it? Sarah's voice trembled, her eyes wide with disbelief. They stood on the threshold of freedom, a new dawn glimmering before them. Laura nodded, tears of joy streaming down her face. We faced the truth. All of it. Together. We're free. Jake exhaled deeply, that weight they had carried for so long finally lifting. No more running. We are stronger now, not despite our past, but because of it. They looked at one another, their bonds solidified, each moment of despair transformed into strength, every moment of doubt reborn into conviction. As they turned to gaze at the horizon stretching out before them, the remnants of Pompeii no longer loomed large. They had wrestled their truth from the depths of despair and emerged whole. Together, they stepped into their future, leaving the darkness behind, ready to write their new story of hope, resilience, and unbreakable friendship, the real treasures they would carry forth into their lives. As the first light of dawn kissed the tops of the ancient ruins, a sense of peace filled them. The past, with all its ghosts, no longer had a hold. They had owned their memories and set them free. Now, take this journey with us one step further. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss a single exclusive story that unfolds just like this one. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Let's make this community grow even bigger. Flood the comments with your reactions. What do you think happened next? What theories do you have about these characters? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends. They need to experience this conclusion too. Your support makes all the difference. Let us keep the stories alive.